Hello, everyone. Let's start with something a lot of people get wrong. Most people think order fulfillment just means shipping. Here at Wins BS, we're breaking down what order fulfillment actually is and why that assumption is wrong. So, what does order fulfillment actually mean? At a basic level, it's everything that has to happen after a customer places an order before that order can be delivered. You already know that definition. What usually isn't clear is how fulfillment actually shows up when you're running an e-commerce business. Because it doesn't show up as a concept. It shows up as messages, statuses, and explanations you start dealing with every day. Orders come in, but some stay in pending. Others move to processing. A few get flagged for manual review. You're told inventory is available, but the order can't be released yet. You're told it should go out later today, then later turns into tomorrow. A customer asks why their order hasn't shipped. You check the dashboard. The order exists. The inventory exists. There's no obvious error. All you really have is an explanation to pass along. Still processing. Waiting on confirmation. System delay. We'll update soon. None of those sound serious on their own. But when you're repeating them across dozens of orders, day after day, something starts to feel off. That's usually when people say, fulfillment is getting messy. What they're reacting to isn't shipping speed. It's the loss of clarity. You can't tell which orders are truly ready, which ones are blocked, or which issues will clear on their own. That's the difference between shipping and fulfillment. Shipping is what happens at the end. It's the label, the carrier scan, the delivery date. Fulfillment is what decides whether an order ever reaches that point cleanly. It's where inventory gets allocated or held. It's where orders get prioritized, split, or paused. It's where exceptions quietly stack up before anyone notices. By the time a package is delayed, the fulfillment decisions that caused it were already made. That's why fulfillment problems almost always look like shipping problems from the outside. Shipping is just where the outcome becomes visible. Once you see fulfillment this way, it starts to break into a few decision layers. Inventory decisions, not how much stock you have, but which orders that stock is actually available for. Order decisions, which orders move immediately, which get queued, and which get held without a clear release condition. And exception decisions. What gets flagged? What gets reviewed manually? What gets overridden? And what just sits waiting for attention? Shipping doesn't control any of that. It simply executes whatever decisions came before. And here's the part most teams miss. Those decisions don't usually fail all at once. They drift. A few pending orders here. A few manual checks there. A few will update you soon messages. Until fulfillment still looks busy, but no longer feels predictable. That's what we'll break down next. Shipping moves packages. Fulfillment determines whether the business actually runs the way you expect it to. And this is why order fulfillment gets misunderstood so often. From the outside, everything collapses into shipping. That's the label customers see. That's the tracking number. That's where every problem appears to surface. But fulfillment isn't what happens at the end. It's what determines whether that last step even makes sense. It's the decisions made before a label ever gets printed, where inventory sits, how orders are prioritized, and what happens when something doesn't line up. Shipping is just the outcome. Fulfillment is the process that creates that outcome. So when fulfillment isn't clear, shipping ends up carrying the blame for problems it didn't create. Once you start looking at fulfillment this way, it becomes easier to see what's actually driving those issues. So if fulfillment has felt confusing or harder to manage than it should be, that's usually why. You're not dealing with a shipping problem. You're dealing with decisions made long before shipping ever happens. Once you see that, order fulfillment stops being a vague cost center and starts becoming something you can actually diagnose and control. Thanks for watching.